So I was going to do a video about putting these coilovers together today, and I discovered that I'm out of anti-seize. Now, QA1 is not sponsoring this video. In fact, no one's sponsoring this video. I'm just going to stop here. I'll answer a couple of questions about single adjustable versus double adjustable that I've been asked lately. But just a note for coilovers in general, whenever you put these things together, you want to put a good coat in the anti-seize. I use the Permatex, also not sponsoring this video. You want to put a good coat in the anti-seize compound on the threads, on either sides of these wear bearings. If you have the Thornton style roller ones, you want to give them a good packing and then put both shims in, because this is where the spring pushes. So you want as much lubrication in there as you can get without being sloppy about it. And you want to make sure there's a little bit between your carrier nut and your locking nut. This is the nut that locks coilovers in place. Once you set your ride height, this little fellow locks you in place. The big one here is what actually carries the weight of the car on a spring. So just a little quick lesson on how that works. As for coilovers in general, and single adjustable versus double adjustable, this is another one of those areas where I say buy the best you can buy at the time. Because, you know, this is one of those things you can change later. They do wear out eventually. You will change them eventually if you run the car long enough, whether it's on the street or the track. They are well worth the money, because anything that gives you adjustability and that you're willing to take time to learn to use that adjustability is what it comes down to, really, is a boon to the performance of that vehicle. It's letting you tailor that vehicle to your skill set, your talent, your way of driving it. And that makes all the difference in the world, whether you're drag racing, roundy round, street driving, whatever, or just daily commuting. You know, it helps you. So when you have a single adjustable coilover, well, any coilover, all you're doing is dealing with compression and extension. How fast it compresses, how fast it rebounds or extends, whichever you want to call it, is controlled by the valving. When you have a single valve, you're dialing the ratio between compression and extension. So if you make it tighter on compression, that's effectively going to make it lighter on extension. So it's going to compress slower than it extends. Now on a drag car, that is just a big deal for launching. Once you're going down the track, it's just a dampener. And any shock at all, no farther than we go, and we're pretty much going straight, any dampening at all is good. You want a controlled dampen. You don't want it to just be all willy-nilly. But if you're a little light going down the track, that's okay. But on the starting line, this can make a big difference in how that car hooks. And it lets you make adjustments for track conditions. Now, keeping in mind that with a single, you're playing either side of the ratio and you're compromising. You're tightening one to loosen the other, because that's just what you have to do. When you have a double adjustable, you're still working the same ratio, but you can fine tune it. Now what that'll let you do when you have the doubles is you can go loose-loose, you can go stiff-stiff, you can go stiff-loose, and you can vary in between stiff and loose on each side. So you're still doing the same ratio, but with tunability. That's, in a nutshell, the simplest way to explain coilover valving, because all you're doing is controlling oil through orifices in here. This is just a barrel valve controlling how fast the fluid goes to one chamber or the other. The chamber below the piston, which right now the piston's probably about here, I'd say, on this one, because yeah, it's about that long when it's extended. So you're just controlling how fast the fluid gets on top or below that piston. And the piston, from the weight of the car pushing down on it, moves that fluid back and forth. So just something to think about. Gives you opportunity to be left-right sensitive. If you're like me, you're a bigger driver, you want to set your left coilover a little tighter on the compression side to help kind of preload the right side of the car to make up for my weight being on the left side of the car. If you're a lighter driver, you can go the other way and make them even. Just gives you room to do that. So just a quick covering of how the valving helps you and why it's important. So I hope you found that interesting, entertaining, informational. Maybe it gave you some food for thought. If it invokes some questions, please ask them. As I said before, I love to hear from you. Maybe when I get some anti-seize today while I'm out, I'll go ahead and put one of these together. Maybe both of them. These are for a client. These are actually going on that Vega that I did the Zeus fastener and the hood video on. I'll go ahead and put them together for him and make another little video about coilovers, and you can see us actually put one together. So as always, thanks for watching. Practice your skills, learn a new one. Either way, turn it into craftsmanship. You never know how far it'll take you. Until next time, this has been Fab Race Mod Repeat. Have a great day.